Good evening, everybody, and welcome back to the Final Word with Matty B here on the It's a Wrap Sports Network with your boy Matty B on the call on my brand new time slot. Yes, for those of you that might be like wondering, whoa, what is going on here? It's not 8 o'clock. Well, no, it's not. It's 10 o'clock. Well, it's actually a little after 10. Had to wait for that Clear the Ice show to kind of wrap up, but I'm here back on the later night shift. This show, by the title, Final Word, was designed and it started initially out at the 10 o'clock time slot, but due to some personal issues and some reasons are beyond my control, I shifted it down to 8 o'clock. It was supposed to be temporary, but that was like 5 months ago. So I figured, you know what? Let's get it back to where it belongs because we got big things coming on the network, and I want to settle back into the time slot that this show was designed to be, and it was designed to be your final word of your sports day. And what better time to present that to you at around 10 o'clock at night? So welcome back to the new old home of the Final Word, and we'll see how long this lasts. If it doesn't work, I'll go back down to 8, maybe 9. I don't know, midnight. We'll shift it around as much as we can. But it's great to be back. Final episode of our broadcast week. It's Thursday night. And as you just heard from Sal G, the Flyers tonight fall 3-2 to those Washington Capitals. Alex Ovechkin gets one more goal closer to catching Wayne Gretzky. And he will catch him. Probably, I don't know if he'll do it. It's what, 12 games left, 11 games left? I don't know if he'll score 6 goals in 11 games. I mean, that's a lot. But maybe he does. If not, he'll break it before Halloween next year. So, that's we could go. That's kind of on the table tonight. We can continue the Flyer conversation, but that's somewhat, it's mind numbing. Tonight, though, we are going to discuss, if you might see by the title in our pretty little graphic, it is baseball season, folks. For all intents and purposes, it is baseball season. We are 7 days away from the start of the Phillies season, and we're less than 7 days away from the start of our season here on the network as a Sunday. At 11 a.m., we're going to give our Phillies preview show on the Fightins Final as it returns for its 4th season. But tonight, and I've kind of been amping it up over the last couple weeks, a deeper dive into the Phillies. Tonight, we're going to explore the ever-important question, what is it going to take for the Philadelphia Phillies to win the World Series in 2025? We are going to unwrap that onion tonight. And maybe kind of, I don't know, maybe we walk away from this conversation tonight feeling a little bit better about the Phillies. Maybe we don't, but we'll find out. We're also going to check in on our boy Paul Skeens. That unicorn baseball card is wrapping up. It is the final night. Matter of fact, the final 4 minutes or so of the auction time for the Paul Skeens card. And unless somebody comes in, I mean, it's got a hefty price tag to it, but I'm actually surprised it didn't get more. So we'll discuss the Paul Skeens card. We're going to do our Other Night segment, and we're going to do, of course, our card review. So all the great, wonderful things, and, of course, our Day in Philadelphia Sports segment, all the wonderful things we do on the program on a night-to-night basis. So buckle up, strap in, strap on. That's right, I said strap on. Put your hands and your feet and your head inside the car at all times, and let's roll. Joe Hale checking in. Joe, how are you tonight? Joe, I am good, man. What I am. So I'm pretty good. But it's good to see you again tonight, Joe. I appreciate you stopping by. So let's get it rolling with your Day in Philadelphia sports history. We go back to the ripe year of 1958. That's right, 1958, a Phillies fact. The Phillies acquired a first baseman today. In 1958, Joe Collins of the New York Yankees was traded to the Phillies. And when Mr. Collins found out that he was headed to Philadelphia, this is what he said. If I can't be a Yankee, I'm through with baseball. And guess what? He never made it to the Phillies and he retired. Now, I don't know if the mystique of going to the Phillies was the problem or if he was just that, wrapped up around the New York Yankees. But it kind of began a precedent that, players didn't want to come here. And that's kind of still to this day when it comes to certain players or certain players don't want to be here anymore. And about 10 years later, another problem occurred for the Phillies in 1968 when pitcher Curt Flood was traded from St. Louis He was so defiant about coming to Philadelphia that he was part of, or they actually attribute the modern era of free agency to him. The concept of free agency and what we became known as free agency in baseball was actually attributed to this guy in 1968 that was so damn adamant about not coming to the Phillies. They were able to, I mean, talk about throwing a temper tantrum and changing the landscape of baseball forever. But on this night, the first player in modern recorded history did not want to come to Philadelphia in a trade to the Phillies. So happy I don't want to be traded to the Phillies day, this day in 1958. Again, I don't shy away from the obscure sports facts. I report them as they is. And that was your day in Philadelphia sports history, brought to you by the fine folks here at the It's a Wrap Sports Network, specifically me. That's right, me. The Talking Phillies Sports. Yeah, I did it again. The final word with MattyB. Back where it belongs at 10 o'clock. Do I have the pretty little graphic there? Yes, I do. Look at that. Sunday through Thursdays at 10. Still doing the same days, but we are going to switch the time back to where it was supposed to be, back where it debuted, and back where I think it belongs. I think I belong on the later part of the night because of the risqueness of the show. Yeah, of the controversialness of the adult material that we discuss here at Night to Night. But we'll give it a shot. We'll give it a shot at 10 o'clock. But hopefully I elicit a whole new audience. Don't know what that audience might be like, but I am sure they belong with me on the overnights. But all right, so let's get it going, I guess. Let's turn the page. Let's peel the onion, and let's answer the question that everybody should be thinking about as we are 7 days away from the opening of baseball, and that is whether or not your Philadelphia Phillies are good enough, or what it takes. I shouldn't say if they're good enough. I'm not going to say that, because I think that's a relative term when it comes to winning a World Series. I'm going to say, what is it going to take? Let's be very clear. It's not about whether or not they're good or not. It's what it's going to take. That's a different animal than are they good or not. We already know that on paper, this team is good. They are. I mean, come on. Even when they struggle, and boy, we've seen them, they are still a top 5, 10 team in Major League Baseball. But that's not good enough. Because as we've seen throughout the years of baseball, it's about what a team has to do and what they have to undertake in order to win a World Series. It takes sacrifice from everybody. And what are the sacrifices, or what are the steps that the Philadelphia Phillies have to take in 2025 in order to win a World Series? Now, I guess in order to kind of start answering that question, we got to go back in time, right? We got to go back in time, because I always look at this from that press conference back in November. The John Middleton, Rob Thompson, Dave Dombrowski. John Middleton wasn't there. It was Dave Dombrowski and Rob Thompson. With their end of season press conference, and all the questions that we as Phillies fans, actually, I remember not all the questions were asked, but most of them were asked about certain players, certain things, certain problems, certain trends on this team, whether or not they were going to be addressed. And we got a lot of side stuff. We got a lot of word salad, right? We got a lot of coach speak. You can throw in the adjective as you see fit. But at the end of the day, the Phillies did not address much of anything. Alec Bohm is still here. Now, I have been watching and I have been listening, and I haven't heard or seen too many one-on-ones with Alec Bohm to find out whether or not whatever was mentally wrong with him at the end of last season has been corrected, whether or not he is personally invested in being back here, because his name was dragged through the mud at the end of last season. I mean, there was not anybody more hated in this town, other than maybe Joel Embiid, than Alec Bohm at the end of the season. And it was a foregone conclusion, no matter where you turned or what media outlet you looked at or you talked to or you listened to. Alec Bohm was, if anything was going to happen this offseason, Alec Bohm was getting traded. No ifs, ands, or buts about it. Alec Bohm was gone. But about 3/4 of the way through the offseason, we found out that the Phillies, whether or not you believe this or not, did not shop Alec Bohm. That they fielded calls about him, but apparently they asked for some crazy trades that other teams were not interested in doing. So the first question I guess I have to ask is in terms of what the Phillies are willing to do in order to win a title. Was keeping Alec Bohm one of those things? Does Alec Bohm excite anybody else? We saw what Alec Bohm can be in the first half of 2025. But then we saw what Alec Bohm became in the second half of 2025. And the theme of this is going to be consistency. I definitely know that that's definitely part of what we're going to talk about in terms of what the Phillies need to do to win a World Series. They need to stay consistent through 162 games. Easier said than friggin' done. And we're going to get into like what I think consistency is with this crazy team. But Alec Bohm, is he prepared to do what has to be done to win a World Series? And can he do it? He relapsed or regressed a little bit defensively towards the end of last season. His bat fell apart at the end of last season, or for pretty much the second half. Now there's talk about putting him in that third hole in the lineup, which, again, I don't agree with. If that's what happens and they move him to that third hole, I do not agree with that. Alec Bohm, I think, would thrive as a 2 or a 6. That's where I see Alec Bohm being the most productive in any lineup. 2 or 6. I don't see him as a 3 guy. I don't. And what if Alec Bohm scuffles along the way? What if Alec Bohm is not able to pull himself out of whatever it was that ailed him last season? What's the next step for third base? Aiden Miller, who's been taking majority of his reps at shortstop. And can Alec Bohm, and I know the maturity question has not really been a problem with him, obviously, through the I effing hate this place stuff and, kind of owning up to that, being a man about it and all. And that's fine and good. But that kind of, to me, goes along with the standing ovation for Trey Turner. I'm done with those platitudes. I don't want to hear any more talking. I want to see it on the field. Is Alec Bohm prepared to do what needs to be done to win a World Series? I think it's a very interesting question, because I thought if anything was going to happen this offseason, it was the trading of Alec Bohm. Matter of fact, I was looking at all kinds of replacements at third base. And, of course, Alex Bregman being the big one. So, hey, Dave, what's going on, man? Just letting you know, if Faith was made captain of her 8th grade middle school. Well, congratulations, Faith. Remember, with great power comes great responsibility. I don't know what a captain in a softball team does. Does she go out to do the pregame at home plate, exchanging some lineup cards? But that's good stuff, man. Congratulations to Faith. I love how Garrett Stubbs took the news today. Yes, so do I. And we're gonna get to that too. We're gonna broach all that as well. So Alec Bohm. Is he ready? Can he do what needs to be done to win a World Series? And how important is Alec Bohm in that whole thing? How important does Alec Bohm play in the Phillies winning a World Series? There's a couple of other things that I want to talk about. And it's not necessarily players. There's another player I want to single out. Actually, there's 2 more players I want to single out, but I want to single out more of a philosophy of this baseball team, because I heard earlier today, and I've heard this before, that some people out there, and I'm sure there's quite a few, are not necessarily upset with the Phillies offseason. And again, it makes sense, and please hear me out. When you have a payroll like the Phillies do, and you have the types of players that the Phillies have, was bringing in an Alex Bregman, was bringing in a Pete Alonso, was bringing in a Juan Soto, was bringing in another power bat really what this team needed? There was a bunch of free agents, and I'll go Jock Peterson, I'll go Gio Urshela, I'll go Alex Verdugo. There were a bunch of other free agents that I would have liked this team to kind of spread their wings on and brought here. Contact type hitters that can spray the ball to all different fields. I'm not looking for more power bats. I get that. But the Phillies, the philosophy of what some fans around the Phillies is, there was really no necessary need to make a big splash and sign a big name free agent. And I kind of agree. I really do. I mean, nice, another pitcher would have been nice, but we have our full of top ticket players. We do. It's just a matter of getting the players that we have play to their maximum capacity. And a theme around the Philadelphia Phillies over the last 3 seasons has been the word consistency, right? We've probably talked, I've probably spoken about the word consistency more, with the exception of RISP. Probably they're the two biggest topics that you'll be hearing me talk about all season long on the Fight and Spinal, is the lack of consistency, or consistency hopefully, and RISP, runners in scoring position. They'll be the two biggest things I talk about all season long. And we just can't see, or we just haven't been able to get a consistent product of the Phillies. And I go back to the 51 or 48 and 18, whatever the start was last year. You know, everybody was playing well. They were getting outstanding, consistent starting pitching, or actually they were getting really good starting pitching. They were getting consistent hitting. Trey Turner was not going to cover up the ball. Kyle Schwarber was consistent. Bryce Harper was middling. JT was actually hitting the ball. Nick wasn't. But for the most part, the lineup was hitting. And then the second half happened and everything fell apart. It all just went at the same time. The hitting went, so did the pitching. And the ability to stay consistent throughout 162 games, honestly, is the key to winning a World Series. No one expects the Phillies. I don't expect the Phillies to win 100 games. And I don't think you should go into a season wanting your team to win 100 games, because you might be very disappointed. It's a very hard thing to do. You know, it's about making the playoffs. It's about hitting each checkpoint of the season. April, get out of April at 500 or a little bit better and healthy. May, catch some juice, catch some fire. June, build some momentum. July, weather the storm of midsummer. August, start amping it up for the run. September, turn it on into October. I mean, those are pretty much, in a nutshell, the checkpoints of a Major League Baseball season. No one expects them to win 120 games, and you shouldn't. But what we have not seen from this team yet is their ability to stay consistent. Now, whether that is a mental approach, whether that's a physical approach, whether that's the manager's approach, whether that's the GM's approach, I don't really know what that can be. Is it a point, you know, how do you keep a team consistent? How do you keep a team consistent, or how do you get the Phillies to be consistent? And I think there's a way to do it. Again, with all of our high-priced free agents over the last 3 years and all the big payroll that we have on this team, there is a way to keep this thing consistent. And it's very, very, very simple. Hit the ball, throw the ball, and catch the ball. If you do those 3 things, you should stay pretty consistent. Now, I get it. It's not that easy. But when you look at the Phillies and you look at the lack of consistency, how much of it does come from the improper balance of the lineup, not the improper structure? There's 2 different things here. I'm not talking about moving Trey Turner to lead off and Kyle Schwarber to 4. I'm not talking about that. I am talking about the balance of the lineup. The lineup has never been properly balanced, regardless of how you bat anybody. Put Harper at 4, Schwarber at 5, Stott leading off. I mean, whatever you think that these players, the profile these players fit, you could put them there, but it just never seemed to be properly balanced. There's too many power hitters. There's too many guys up there spraying and praying, and not enough plate discipline, not enough good at bat approaches, not enough of that stuff. And again, it really, when there's nothing behind them to make that up, like if you have a Kyle Schwarber that's swinging at everything, and then behind him, you need a guy that puts the ball in play. And the Phillies just got power hitter after power hitter after power hitter after power hitter. So how much consistency can you get from a lineup that's improperly balanced to begin with? Now, it does start with trying to maximize the lineup in the best possible way. And that does mean, I'm sorry for all you Kyle Schwarber leadoff advocates, it means putting him lower in the lineup. It means putting him in the 4 hole where he belongs, right? It means concentrating your power in the middle part of your lineup, concentrating your contact and your speed to the top of the lineup and the bottom of the lineup, and just hoping that the gaps fill themselves in. Again, baseball 101, that's not too easy. That's not too hard to do. Can the Phillies do that? They have made a concerted effort to try to figure that out heading into the season. Now, the Phillies have not announced a lineup. They have not announced anything. They haven't even really announced a rotation, and we're going to get into the pitching in a second. But regardless of what the lineup looks like in a week and who's coming out and leading off, who's batting fourth, who's batting fifth, who's batting second, whatever, they got to make sure they put the right person in the right spot to maximize their ability. Now, Kyle Schwarber on no planet, in no galaxy, in no universe belongs leading off because that does not maximize what Kyle Schwarber can bring to the plate. It doesn't. It simply does not maximize it. It truly doesn't. It doesn't, from an analytics standpoint, create the percentages that Kyle Schwarber can succeed or be as productive as he possibly can be if he's batting leadoff. It just doesn't match. So putting Kyle Schwarber somewhere in the middle of the lineup, and more importantly, staying with him in that lineup spot, regardless of how much he struggles or eventually how much he bitches about it, is going to be key. And does Rob Thompson have the stones to do that? If Trey Turner's leading off and Kyle Schwarber's batting fourth, and they both get off to a terrible start to the season, 6 weeks in, they're both batting around 200, does the plug get pulled on this experiment? And that's not consistency. It's not. It's not. It isn't. You got to go with what you got. You go with that lineup. Let them roll themselves into that lineup. Nick Castellanos played 162 games of baseball last year. Matter of fact, he played more to include the 4 games in the playoffs. 166 games. And for a whole half a season, he couldn't hit water with a damn boat. But then he got it turned on, and he was one of the most consistent, hottest hitters the Phillies had heading down the stretch. The same type of loyalty and patience needs to be sent and exhibited to all the other players, especially if you're going to balance the lineup around. And that kind of falls on Rob Thompson. So improperly balanced lineup, structured the best possible way to get the most out of that lineup. That is another way how the Phillies go ahead and win a World Series, and sticking with the plan. And I know I am not, you're hearing it from me, a person who does not, who gets extremely frustrated about about Rob Thompson and his undying loyalty. God, I just want to grab him by his neck and wring him. But this season, that might be the Phillies' biggest ally. Rob Thompson's undying loyalty and unwavering loyalty. And let's see that it sticks. Now, the Phillies did make a move today, and Joe Hale said it earlier, and I'm sorry to glass right over it. Garrett Stubbs is heading down to AAA. Hallelujah. The Phillies decided not to let Rafael Marchand test free agency, or I should say test the waiver wire, and they retained him up on the Phillies and sent Garrett Stubbs down to the minors, down to Lehigh, along with his overalls and his beer case hat. He's on his way to Allentown. It's a party town. He should be fine. Get a lot of reps. He'll start. And that should be good for Garrett, man. It really should be. So Rafael Marchand's going to be your backup catcher, at least to start the season. So we'll see how that goes. And the question that Joe asked is, how do you think he took the news? Maybe he was like, I don't know, on his turntable, like scratching out sort of like a sad song. I don't know, man. I don't know. I'd like to have seen that. I personally feel Turner is not a leadoff guy either. I would like Stott at the top. Just my take on it, Dave. And listen, Stott is a wild card in this. Marsh is a wild card in this. Kepler is a wild card in all this. There's some things that you can kind of set your watch to when it comes to the Phillies, but the profile of these hitters. But Stott's one of those players, especially heading into this season. What are you going to get from him? Who is Bryson Stott? I mean, we saw what he was in 23, which was for the most part an above average hitter, a contact hitter. And then we saw what he was last year. Whether or not he was injured and that affected it or not, that's to be determined. But I don't think you're wrong. Stott could fit the prototypical mold of a leadoff guy, but the problem is you can't put that on him right now. In my opinion, you can't put that burden on him right now. After the season he had last year, he's got to settle in down to the bottom of the lineup and literally battle his way up. Literally. And I think that's the best thing to do for him. Take the pressure off of Stott to start the season. There's no need to put the pressure on him right now after what he went through last season. bat him 8th, bat him 9th, let him figure it out down there. And if things do turn on and he gets hot and he starts hitting consistently, again, I use that word consistent. Yeah, maybe move him up to 1. Maybe when Turner's off, you put Stott and lead him off a couple times. We'll see. You know, I'm not saying you're wrong either, Dave. I just don't think you can hand things over to anybody anymore. You know, you had Bryson Stott, and I blame Rob Thompson for this. Batting Bryson Stott 5th. What in the hell is that? Even if Bryson Stott was the next coming of Chase Utley, he shouldn't be batting 5th. All right, that was extremely negligent on Rob Thompson's part to bat Bryson Stott in the 5-hole. And I've seen some mock lineups out there that people would like to put Stott 6th. Again, what the hell are you people talking about? Batting Bryson Stott 6th or 5th. He's a 1, he's a 2, or he's an 8, or he's a 9. And that's just the way it is. So I'm not saying you're wrong, Dave. Not at all. But let's continue on with the consistent hitting, because following this all year long that I do, again, I'm going to go back to the RISP. All right, runners in scoring position batting average. So this is the batting average that the Phillies had in 2024 with runners in scoring position. So runners on second or third with runners, this was their batting average. In the first half of last season, for the first 81 games, not the All-Star break, but the actual first 81 games, the Phillies batted .277 as a team with runners in scoring position. They were 194 for 700, batting close to 300 as a team with runners in scoring position. In the second half, the next 81 games, they were 360 for 1,350 with runners in scoring position, batting .266, an 11-point drop between the two halves. Now, this goes along with everything else that went wrong for the Phillies in the second half. But where did that drop come from? Did it come from JT Realmuto's injury? I mean, he was in and out of the lineup at that point, in the second half, but everybody else was there. Now, Trey Turner was coming back from an injury and never really kind of got that first half groove back on again. But where is that 11-point drop from? That's a question that I hope Rob Thompson spent a lot of time figuring out over the winter. And I hope that they've been working on that in the spring. And I'm going to explain what I would like to see from them in that aspect. But an 11-point runners in scoring position batting average with runners in scoring position over the two halves is an immense drop-off. And that explains some of the problems the team had in the second half. I personally feel Trey Turner is not a leadoff guy either. I would like Stott at the top, just my take on it. Wait, did I just do that one? I did. Sorry, Dave. So 11-point drop off. Plate approach, plate discipline. What is the number one problem we've had with the Phillies ever since they assembled this core? It's the fact that they just are up there trying to swing for the fences. This is what we blame 2023's demise against the Diamondbacks on. We blame that completely on the reason why the Phillies did not. I mean, come on, think about it. This still burns my ass, man. They're up 3-2 in the NLCS, coming home to play 2 games, and all they had to do was win 1, and they couldn't do it. I mean, come on, man. That still burns my ass, because you know what? I thought they could beat the Rangers that year. I really did. But that burns my ass. How do you come home up 3-2 in the NLCS and cannot win 1 lousy game at home? Well, how you do that is just swing at stuff in the dirt. You swing at balls in the dirt or up over your head, trying to tie the game up with 1 swing. Now that's managing, that's coaching. I don't care what you say. That is extreme negligence on the manager for not putting an end to that. That scares me about Rob Thompson. It really does. So I really don't know who's running the railroad in that dugout. I really don't. Now, the other stat that I want to talk about, because we're going to transition here a second, is pitching. All right. And one very important stat about pitching. And that's home runs allowed. All right. So the Phillies in the first half of 2024, their pitching staff allowed 64 home runs. 64 friggin' home runs, less than 1 a game in the first half of the 2024 season. In the second half, they allowed 118. Was that 54 more home runs than they did in the first half? 54 for almost a home run and a half a game. A lot of that has to do with the number 5 issue with the fifth starter carousel that the Phillies were on for a good part of the second half. Now heading into this season, Ranger Suarez tweaked his back. Probably will not start the season in the rotation. That means Taijuan Walker most likely will come back into it, at least for the month of April, as Ranger kind of figures out, maybe stays down for an extended spring training along with Andrew Painter. Matt Strom's dealing with a little bit of an injury as well. May delay the start of his season too. So going into the season, and again, I understand that fifth starter is what it is, but the lack of a consistent fifth starter on this rotation last year cost us a lot in the second half of the season. It cost us a lot. What did the Phillies do to address that? Did they bring in Joe Ross, who's a typical long guy? He can maybe eat up some innings long. You could look at Jose Luzardo's acquisition as being, an attempt to try to, stretch out the rotation. Andrew Painter, potentially coming in the end of July, could be the fix to a fifth person in the lineup. But glossing over, because everyone talks about the fifth starter like he's nothing. Like, it's the fifth guy. We don't even use five starters in the postseason. No, it's just true. We don't, but we need them to get to the postseason. So having this laissez-faire attitude towards the fifth starter definitely needs to not be what the Phillies are doing in 2025. They need to make sure that they have the best possible pitcher in that fifth hole. And if Suarez can't start the season, which is looking like he isn't, and Walker's out there, I give Walker 3 starts maximum before I pull his ass out the rotation. 3 starts max. And if he gets shelled in any one of them 3, don't care if he pitches two no-hitters, and then he gives up 17 runs in the third one, he's coming out the rotation, man. I'm playing games with Walker. So having a consistent fifth starter needs to be a priority for the 2025 Phillies. And then my final point about this, because I don't want to give all away my trade secrets. I got a show to do on Sunday that I got to pump out. So my final, what is it going to take for the Phillies to win a World Series point is the bullpen. That's right, the bullpen. Phillies are looking to go with an 8-pitcher bullpen. They won't be able to do that now because they're going to have to use Walker in the starting rotation to start the season. So 7 to start is fine. Do we have the horses in the bullpen barn? I think we do. I think we got some good arms out there. And I think you got some guys that are poised to sort of break out. But the problem with the bullpen is not the arms. It's not the personalities. It's not the people. The problem with the bullpen is the manager. Again, I'm going back to Rob Thompson on this. The bullpen without any roles is criminal. And that looks like what we're doing again this season. What did we hear last year? Dave Dombrowski said it straight up when they acquired Carlos Estevez from the Angels. They said, yes, he's a closer. Dave said it himself. Yes, he's a closer, but he's going to be asked to do other things here. Why would you do that? Why would you break it if it ain't fixed? Or why would you fix it if it ain't broken? I'm sorry. It's criminal not having a role, having a role-less bullpen. Having a bullpen where they all assemble right before the game and say, okay, I'm closing tonight. It's criminal. And that, to me, unless that changes, Phillies ain't winning jack, smack, nothing. You got to have a rolled bullpen. They got to know what they're doing. Pitchers need to know that. Pitchers, among everything else, need to understand what their job is day in, day out. And I think Orion Kerkering is a closer at this level. If somebody makes him a closer and keeps him in that role, the kid can throw straight smoke, but he's not going to be given an opportunity to exclusively close on this team. So I don't think the Phillies are winning a World Series unless they find that rolled bullpen. And that boils down, that's really what it boils down to me. I'm sorry to say. Michael Papernick chicken in. Something like the Phillies, since Dombrowski hasn't cared about number. They haven't. But, Mike, we saw how it bit him in the ass last year. We had that little carousel going on with Tyler Phillips, Mikado, Wasn't there another Tyler that came up here, pitched? It was a like, who's coming in next? It really bit him in the ass heading down the stretch of last season when things were starting to weeble wobble. The lack of a consistent fifth starter just caused more problems. They need to pay attention to the fifth starter. And I don't want to hear the nonsense, but we don't need a fifth starter in the offseason. Well, in the postseason. We don't. But you're not getting to the postseason unless you got a fifth starter during the regular season. And we saw that firsthand. 64 home runs given up by Phillies pitching in the first half, 118 given up by them in the second half. Now, that's not all because of the fifth starter woes, but it's a lot to do with it. It's got to be more consistent. If the Phillies don't make the World Series, Thompson gets fired. And I'm going to save that for the end of this little rant because I think you'll be interested to hear what I got to say about that. The definition of crazy is the Phillies doing the same thing and getting the same results. Yeah, since Mike, they haven't been getting the same results. Don't forget, 2022, they lost the World Series. 2023, they lost in the NLCS. And then 2024, they lost in the NLDS. So philosophically, they've been getting different results. Technically, right? I mean, I get it. They've been losing, but at different levels. So technically, it's not the same result. It's worse. It's getting worse every year. Hey, if we lost the World Series in 2023 and lost in the World Series this year or last year, I probably feel a lot better about things. Honestly, probably would. Think about it that way. Depends which Alvarado you get and hope he stays consistent through the season. Again, I said Kerkering. I didn't say Alvarado. I think Kerkering's a 7 or not. I'm sorry. I think Alvarado in this bullpen, I would like Alvarado in the 7th inning. I would like Romano in the 8th, and I would like Kerkering in the 9th. Tanner Banks in the 6th, along with Matt Strahm. And then everybody else is, long relief. And I think that would work. I do. And I'm only asking them to pitch one friggin' inning, man. One inning. Each one of them, the 7th, 8th, and 9th inning guys, one inning. That's all I want. Give me your best 12 pitches, man. Rear back and let it fly for 12 pitches. And go home. Sorry about that. I'm on a mission this year, and Robbie is my target. I see that, Michael. I mean, you've never been on the Rob Thompson train, and I'm gonna save that for the end of this because the last part of this is I think the most important part. But yeah, I'm not a Rob Thompson guy either. That's sitting there with the that like he's about to fall asleep. That stuff doesn't do me anything, man. I can't stand that. All I heard is how great Painter is pitching, and he should be the number 5. But when you make $18 million, that trumps. Yeah, and then unfortunately, he's going to be the number 5. Walker will be to start the season. He's going to be. You're absolutely right. But does anybody have faith that he's going to stick there? No, of course not. But there's options, and Painter is an option. And I think everyone needs to pump the brakes on Painter too. Listen, he's going to show up in July. I 100% barring any setbacks, physically or medically, he will be pitching for the Phillies at some point in 2025. But what do you expect from the guy? I hope we don't think. I mean, I'm not saying I get Spencer Howard vibes from all this, but I really want people to kind of be patient with Painter because 2 years not pitching competitively, just back from Tommy John surgery. I don't think we're going to get the full Andrew Painter in 2025. Now, the question is, does he show enough to potentially make the postseason roster if there's a postseason in the bullpen, and then obviously build upon that for 2026. And then we can factor him into the rotation. But you can't go into 2025 factoring in Andrew Painter anywhere. You're just going to kind of cross your fingers and hopefully you get the best of Andrew Painter that you can get. And you go from there. So I know a lot of people are putting a lot of stake and stock on Andrew Painter's arrival here. And I think that's misplaced. I really think you got to give the kid as much time as he needs. You really do. Robbie's with the Yankees and they had Mariano, but Robbie didn't pick up that when he came to the Phillies. No, because Rob Thompson, for some odd reason, does not believe in a bullpen with roles. We have a closer here. And then we have a couple guys that could be closers. But you got to make somebody a closer. I don't know. Am I the only one? And honestly, and I know that they'll never say it, but I like to talk to some of these pitchers like Estevez. Probably like to talk to him right now and say, hey, man, how did you like pitching in a bullpen where you didn't know what you were doing night after night? I guarantee you, you'd probably be candid with me. Sir Anthony, Soto, same thing. Hey, guys, how did you feel about this crap, no roles? It just doesn't work, man. It does not work. What about Abel or any of these other top pitching prospects? So Mick Abel is an interesting topic. Mick Abel's the only one out of the interesting pitching prospects that's major league ready. Or, forgive me, I don't know if I should have said that, but he's the closest one. And I think, and I've said this before, Michael, on the show, regardless of not if Abel's a bust, regardless of not if Abel can't do it, it's time to find out whether he can or cannot. There's no reason and there's nothing beneficial about Mick Abel starting his 6th season in the Phillies minor leagues. It's time to move the former first-round pick to the Phillies in some capacity. I'm not, you throw him to the Wolves as a starter. Shit, man, he's a first-round pick. Why not? But you don't have to. Mix him into the bullpen. But whatever you do, he needs to be a Philly this year because you need to know what he is once and for all. Just like with Moniak, he just comes to a point where there's just no more use in putting him or leaving him in the minor leagues. It's time to get him up here, throw him to the Wolves, and see what he can do. 6 friggin' years in the minor leagues for a number one not overall, but a first round pick. It's time. It's beyond time. So I want Nick Abel to be part of this. And I've said that, I've gone on record of saying it. And you know what? Nick Abel's got 4 very good pitches. It's command and control and it's velocity problems that have plagued him. But why not? Give him a shot, man. It's time. It's beyond time. And as far as the other pitching prospects, that's just all they are right now. There's nobody really. Seth Johnson might be kind of ready. The guy that we picked up in the Soto trade last year, along with Moises Chase, who's not ready. He's a double-A guy. There's a couple of them that you could probably look at, but Seth Johnson and Mick Abel are probably the 2 most MLB ready right now that the Phillies could use this season. And Tyler Phillips, which I don't consider him a prospect. I really don't. What do you see in Orion K? Just wondering. I see 99 miles an hour fastball with a lot of movement. And I see a non-fear ability to throw breaking stuff in high leverage situations, which I've seen him do. I think he's got the testament or the stones for the job. It's a whether or not somebody gives him the confidence that says, go out there and do it. I think he has the stuff of a closer. I do. The way, the velocity and his 4 pitches, I think he's got closer stuff. I really do. And I saw it in the first year. Fire Robbie and send him back to Canada. All right, let's talk about Rob Thompson because you won't get off that. But that's fine because it's definitely part of what it's going to take for the Phillies to win a World Series. Is Rob Thompson's probably at the top of the list. Nobody wants to say that, but he probably is. And it goes to my final question, and we got to move on because I'm running out of time and it's getting late. If Rob Thompson... okay, let me put you in a frame of mind, and let's go look at 2024 and 2022. If you had to pick a season of how it started, what would you take? Would you take 2024 and the 48-10, or wherever it was, 48-18, or would you take the 2022 where they fired Girardi in early June because there were 7-8 games under 500? And I think it's a question that's going to be asked a lot more now based on that we've seen the results of those. What did we say for years and years and years? They got to get off to the hot start. They got to get off to the good hot start. What did that do? We fizzled in July. But in 2022, you fired your manager, a new voice, regardless of who that voice was, but it was new, a new attitude, a new way of doing things. And they went on an epic little run at the end of the season. Now, I'm not saying if they fire Rob Thompson, because I don't know internally who you look at, like Kevin Long, Dusty Waltham. Yeah, I don't have faith and confidence in the internal staff either. But if you fire Rob, if the Phillies do get off to a slow start, and what I mean by a slow start, like 7-8 games under 500 heading into the month of June, is Rob Thompson fired? And I think the answer to that question is yes. And is that the type of start you want based on, what you saw last year? Because there's an argument for both. 2020, Joe wants a 2022 start. What's a 2022 start? Phillies are suing an analytic company because their info didn't help the Phillies. That tells you everything in a nutshell. Jerry just lost the locker room and all that was. Okay, regardless of what happened or what led Girardi to getting fired, do you think, Dave, that and I was a Girardi guy, man. Let's get that straight. I didn't want him to get fired. I thought he was a great manager, and I like those old school guys. As a matter of fact, the long-term replacement for Rob Thompson, I wanted to be Don Mattingly. Honestly, I want an old school guy back. So I was a big Girardi guy, and I didn't want him to get fired, but you can't deny what happened after he got fired. Regardless if he lost the locker room, if they weren't performing for him, whatever. But Rob Thompson right now could be considered a very inept manager because he just doesn't understand situational baseball, and his philosophies are not working, and he hasn't lost the locker room because they won't let him in the locker room. The inmates run the asylum, that kind of thing. So regardless of whether or not Girardi lost the locker room, which I agree he did, Thompson struggles in 2025. If that happens, is it warrant a firing? And I think it does to save the season. Bring in Dusty Baker. No, man, Don Mattingly. Bring Joe Schmo, coach in Little League, who has more common sense for the game than Robbie. Easy. Good God, man. Woo. Some hate. Straight hate for Rob Thompson. All right. So, with all that being said, can the Phillies win the World Series in 2025? I say, drum roll, please. I don't know. I don't know. There's just way too much that has to break for the Phillies. There's just way too much that has to break for a lot of teams because, we've seen it over and over again. 110, 120 win seasons from teams, and they bail out in the first round. You got to look at the Dodgers and what they did to the Cubs in Japan and be like, God damn, they're going to be good. But that's 2 games in. Baseball's a fickle lady, and she's got to be loved the right way. So I don't know if they can or not. Should they be in the conversation? Should they get to the dance? Should they be one of the last 8 standing? Not 8. Is it 8? 3-3. Last 12 standing? Yeah, they should be. But a lot has to happen between now and October for the Phillies to win a World Series. And the team will probably not look the same in some capacity. So I did all that to tell you that I don't know if they have enough to win the World Series. I think Jim Jomey would be a good coach. Yeah, so do I. He'd be a great coach. Yes, the Phillies can win the World Series, but will no cause their managers a moron. We'll see. We'll see. Because at the end of the day, don't forget, Joe, Mike, everybody, Rob Thompson's not at the plate swinging the bat. Rob Thompson's not on the mound throwing the ball. Rob Thompson's not in the field making plays. At the end of the day, it's the players. Regardless of what they may be coached and whatever, at the end of the day, it's not Rob Thompson taking the swings. I think they run out of steam come October, honestly. And Dave, that's a very that's a very poignant assessment. But starting on a week from today, and I cannot believe it's here. Honestly, can't believe here. The Phillies will start their season in Washington. But before that, on Sunday morning at 11 a.m., right here on the It's a Wrap Sports Network, join us, me and the rest of the Fight's final crew, as we will assemble for the only time ever. Well, actually, we assemble 3 times a season altogether. The beginning of the season, at the All-Star break, and at the end of the season. So you're going to be able to see us one of our 3 times that we're all together and that'll be on Sunday for the 2025 Phillies season preview at 11 a.m. right here on the It's a Wrap Sports Network. Probably hosted by me. I think I'm hosting. If not, I am hosting because I'm in charge. All right, real quick, I want to get this out of the way because I'm running out of time and it's getting late. Little NFL action, little NFL news. Of course, the big story in town these days is this. Let's put it up here. And I'll spend about 5 seconds talking about this because I think it's ridiculous. So the Green Bay Packers have put in an official rule change to prohibit the offensive player from pushing a teammate who was lined up directly behind the snapper and receiving the snap immediately at the snap. Essentially, the Packers have gone to the mat and said, you know what? We are officially asking for the brotherly shove, tush push, whatever you call it, to be outlawed on the Rules Committee meeting this year. My opinion, of course, is sort of justified with everybody else's opinion. It's crying over sour grapes. It's crying over spilled milk. Come on, man. Listen, and I'm not a big brotherly shove kind of guy either, but listen, if you can't, that's not how you get rid of something by wishing it away and by ruling it away. Go out and stop it, right? And so let's look at these rules a little bit more in depth. So 3 NFL teams have actually submitted rule change proposals for the 2025 season. The Packers have want to ban the brotherly shove. The Lions want to remove automatic first downs for defensive holding and illegal contact penalties. And the Eagles want to change the overtime rules of the regular season to postseason rules, with both teams getting one possession. So those are the 3 teams that have come forward with rule change suggestions for the upcoming season. And of course, the big one, the sexy one, is the brotherly shove by the Packers being proposed to be outlawed. Now, of course, the Eagles will play the Packers at some point next year in Lambeau. And honestly, if it doesn't get outlawed, you should run the brotherly shove every play of that game. Just go down the field 1 yard at a time. Just to stick it to them. That's what I would do. But I don't know about that, man. Michael says the best move the Phillies did was sending party boy Garrett Stubbs to the minors. Yeah, he's going to be mixing it up down there in Allentown, man. You know, that's an interesting move. Maybe that's a move that says the Phillies are serious. You know, I guess they felt confident that Marshawn would not make it through waivers, that somebody would claim him, and they would lose out on him. So, good move. I agree with you. I agree too, Michael. When Harper said my fault to Robbie and let him blow up and no accountability and the nut run the aside, again, that's a big question. After all this is said, is who really is running the team? And if the players are, they're not winning a World Series. It just won't happen. But we'll see, because there's a lot of evidence that points to the players that run this team. The Packers are whiny little girls. It's like he is to me. He's mean to me. Yeah, I agree. I absolutely agree. You know, Frankie Louvu gets a lot of shade because of what he did in the NFC divisional game, or was it the championship game? Yeah, championship game. But why not, man? Hell, I'd be leaping over that line every play too. You're gonna pick it up anyway. So I'm just gonna make it a really like annoying for you to pick it up. So I don't. You're right. I agree. Packers are little whiny babies. So that was your NFL tidbits for the night. I wanted to stop by and drop that on you. I want to make sure that you guys know. So the Paul Skeens. Oh, look at this, folks. The Paul Skeens auction. Let's check in on that. Ends tonight. Now, this is for the unicorn card. This is the 1/1 Paul Skeens Topps Update Series Chrome Rookie MLB debut patch, the one where the team offered a 30-year season ticket bounty on if anybody would find it and turn it into the Pirates. An 11-year-old kid got it as part of a Christmas present from his parents in a box of cards, and he just opened the 5th pack. He pulled that card. It went on auction on the Fanatics auction site on the 10th. It ends in 50 seconds. The auction will end in 50 seconds, and currently the bid is up to $925,000. So just shy of $1 million. If somebody jumps over the top, I want to see if somebody jumps over the top and puts the $1 million bid in, as this card is looking to fetch $1 million for a baseball card. Unbelievable. But right now, about 50 seconds left in the auction, it is up to $925,000. I'm in the wrong business. All right, let's get to the other night segment as we are burning daylight. And yeah, let's do it. Yep. The other night segment, the part of the show where we talk about a Phillies prospect, a Flyers prospect, a potential draft pick in the MLB or an NHL draft, a spotlight player, all those great things. And let's roll it here. We're doing 2 tonight. We'll start with the MLB draft, a 2025 MLB draft prospect, Seth Hernandez, the right-hand pitcher from Corona, California. On the radar for quite some time, Hernandez started making it clear as a junior when he won National High School Invitational MVP honors after tossing a complete game shutout to help his Corona High School team win the tournament. He had been on the top of the high school arm in the class of 2025. He cemented it by showing elite stuff at a summer showcase event like the USA Baseball's 18U National Training Camp and the area code games at base. So Seth Hernandez is probably going to be top 5 in pitching prospects taken in this year's draft. He's got it all. And I implore you to go take a look at him on Twitter. And if the Phillies have any chance of getting him, which they don't, I would definitely jump on him. So Seth Hernandez is our MLB draft prospect of the night. Now let's go to our Philly spotlight player, because we only have one more to do after tonight. And after we do this guy, Weston Wilson, we only have one more player left, and we're done with the spotlight players for the season. But Weston Wilson, yeah, he got the lat injury there. He's going to be down probably for a couple months. It's a shame, because sneaky good was Weston Wilson when he got into baseball last year. 41 games for the Phillies, 284 batting average, 3 homers, 10 RBIs, and a stellar 836 OPS. Again, it turned into like a jack of all trades, master of none for the Phillies, a utility guy with power, essentially. And it's a shame that he got hurt, honestly. I really like Weston Wilson part of this team, and I really hope he gets back into the lineup and back with the Phillies as soon as he can, because the Phillies are better without him. And their bench is significantly not as good without him. So Weston Wilson, dealing with the lat injury, shut down essentially for the next 6 weeks. Will go through an extended spring training himself. More likely go to Lehigh for a few weeks and then hopefully get his way back to the Phillies. So there you go. Your Philly spotlight player is Weston Wilson, and your MLB draft target, Seth Hernandez, the fireballer out of Corona, California, right-hand pitcher who should go within the top 3 to 5 picks in this year's draft. Rolling through it now, baby. Rolling through it now. I'm hoping Robbie doesn't make it to the first game, but the old saying, one hand. I think he's going to make it to the first game, man. I mean, come on. Maybe the minor league could be the number 5. All right. Let's wrap this show up on the baseball card theme with our MattyB's card review segment of the night. So let's do some baseball cards. All right, new little intro to the segment there. I hope you guys liked it. Revamping some things. We've been stuck on hockey the last couple nights. Dale Howardchuk was our focus player last night and the night before. 2 different cards from the same set, the 90-91 tops. We're back on baseball. Let's face it, we're back on a bona fide. I'm going to say it, and it's probably the wrong thing to say, but you know how the Mickey Mantle 52 Mantle is reveled as one of the greatest baseball cards of ever. I'm telling you, if this guy continues to play like the way he plays, we're going to be talking about this kid's rookie card 50 years from now. And if you have an opportunity to pick up any of these rookie cards, pick them up. Base, refractor, insert, parallel, whatever. Just pick up this damn rookie card and hold on to it. And I'm speaking of course, Shohei Ohtani. This is his rookie card, the base version. of his 2018 rookie card from Topps. Currently, there's multiple versions of this rookie card in base form from 2018 Topps. Now, there's a debate because in 2019 Topps, his cards have the rookie cup, which are what they usually assign to the rookie card, but it's not his rookie card. This is his rookie card. If it has the little patch up there right underneath the logo, this is his actual rookie card. Now, there's like 4 versions of this rookie card floating around in that year's set. There's one of him standing behind a podium doing a post-game or press conference. There's one of him batting. There's multiple cards of him because he's a multiple type player, pitcher, DH, and all that. But whatever card you can get your hands on, this one right now, currently in this raw form, sits at about $300 on any given database that I've searched it. $300 card. And it will probably grow in value. It'll grow in popularity. And as the years go by, I have not posted this card on any internet site to try to sell it. I am sitting on it, and I am going to forget about it and put it in the shoebox. And hopefully when I'm 95 years old and on my deathbed, I'll cash in the Shohei Ohtani 2018 Topps rookie card, base card, and make $1 million right before I die. And here it is. Here it is in its physical form. This card is raw. It has not been graded, but this card is pretty damn near like spot on perfect. All right. And here it is. So definitely one of my treasures of my collection, the Shohei Ohtani rookie from 2018. So if you can get a hold of them, any of them, and matter of fact, any Ohtani, honestly, is worth something. So always be on the lookout for Ohtani cards. I say we go get Amanda Tatum O'Neal from the original Bad News Bears. She could be number 5. That doesn't change the spot. Schwarber lead off game 1. Book it. I disagree, Dave. I hope it does. I hope you're wrong, man. I hope you're wrong. But all right, everybody. Thank you very much for tuning in tonight. This is our final episode of our broadcast week. We'll be back on Sunday, but you'll be seeing me Sunday morning and then on Sunday night as well. We got Clear the Ice on Saturday with Mike Laro, and then we got our Phillies pregame or preview show coming up on Sunday. So we are like this close away from the start of the Philly season, and I smell it in the air. And it's been a great week. It's been a great week. Great broadcast week. Second week in a row, we did 5 episodes. Remember, we are back now at 10 o'clock on your digital calendar. So no more 8 o'clock. 10 o'clock will be our new start time. Unless, of course, I'm followed by a post-game show, then that'll be when the post-game show ends. So we'll keep that fluid. But it's great to be back at this later hour when it's supposed to be, when it was originally supposed to go. I can't do a show entitled The Final Word in the middle of the day because that makes no sense. So we're back. We're back here at 10 o'clock on Sundays through Thursdays. Joe says, who pitches tomorrow? In the spring? Well, I just saw that. They're playing the Braves, right? I don't know. I think they're playing the Braves. Or they play the Braves today. Yeah, it should be Nola, shouldn't it? Should Nola pitch tomorrow? If we're starting to line things up for the season, it should be Nola. But anyway, that'll do it. You guys have a great rest of your night and a fantastic weekend. And we will talk on Sunday. Take care.